Continuing my series on Battlefield 1 history, this week we have one of the most iconic and important semi-automatic handguns ever created, the Luger P08. The P08 was designed by George Luger, building upon the designs of the C93. The German army adopted the Luger P08 in 1908, hence the name. The Luger saw extensive use by Germany in both world wars and was adopted by many other countries as well. The Luger is a staple handgun when you think about handguns in the early 1900s. The majority of semi-automatic pistols at the time used slide action designs to rechamber each bullet. The Luger used a toggle lock action design to rechamber each shot. When firing, you would think that this toggle lock bouncing back and forth after every shot would make this weapon extremely difficult to land multiple shots on target. However, this is not the case. It springs up and down so fast that the toggle lock is barely noticeable until you expel all rounds within the magazine. This toggle lock action design actually came from the C93. The C93 was cumbersome and wasn't very popular due to its size and odd shape. The Luger P08 is a direct upgrade from this design and allows the handgun to be much smaller and fit in many holsters, something that the C93 had trouble doing. This toggle lock action design also influenced many other handguns and rifles during this time period. In Battlefield 1, the Selbstgelader 1906 also uses a toggle lock action design, so you can see the inspiration the rifle took from these handguns. The Luger was originally calibered in the 7.65mm parabellum round, but was later able to use the 9x19mm parabellum round. The latter made the Luger an even more favorable weapon in the hands of its users. The Luger fired at 116 rounds per minute with a bullet velocity between 350 to 400 meters per second. With the trench warfare of World War I, submachine guns and handguns proved to be much more effective than bolt-action rifles in the tight close quarters engagements in the trenches along the multiple theaters of the war. But submachine guns at the time were still very much in the prototype phase and were unreliable until better models like the MP18 came along at the later stages of the war. Adaptations had to be made to the existing weapons to make them much more optimal for trench combat. Weapon designs of the Luger with a 32-round drum magazine and an attached stock allowed this weapon to pretty much change into a poor man's submachine gun. This drum magazine can be seen on the MP18 as well, but it pulled the weight down for the weapon a lot. With the P08's magazine being down the handle, this isn't a problem, unlike for the MP18 where the drum magazine dragged the weapon over to the left side of the gun, obviously making it much difficult to land accurate fire. Over 2 million models of the P08 Luger was used by Germany alone during 1914 through 1918. The P08 replaced the older standard issue revolver Germany was using at the time. The transition from using revolvers to the modern age of semi-automatic pistols made great leaps in the overall effectiveness of combat troops. Everything wasn't all sunshine and rainbows with the Luger. The materials that made the Luger were very high quality and expensive to produce. Obviously, this is good because as a fallback weapon like a pistol, you don't want your gun falling apart and jamming in your hands as an enemy aims for your head. But as production gets costly as the war looms, cheaper alternatives become much more commonplace. The Luger was produced in various variations throughout its lifespan, but this gun had a bad reputation. Being in service with Germany in both world wars, this gun is often associated with Nazis. Villainous characters resembling Nazis would be seen using the P08 or a variation of it by multiple forms of media. This gave the Luger P08 the assumption of being a weapon for the quote-unquote bad guys. Don't let that cloud your judgment or perception on the gun itself. The Luger was revolutionary at the turn of the century as among many other weapons made before, during, and after the First World War. So that about wraps up some brief history behind the Luger P08. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and make sure to drop a comment down below as to what I should cover in the next episode. And as always, it's been BloodHound, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.